Hi everyone, welcome to our presentation on the dining hall management system first sprint. As you can see on the left, here are our schedule, including our team members, who are me, Sunwin, Evan Kwok, Jake Van Houder, and Anthony Graves. Coming up next would be the introduction about our sprint and the backlog overview. So for our first question, why a dining hall management system? As you guys know, many places are still using an old system, which consists of many subsystems for each part of a dining hall, from inventory to kitchen, staff management, and the cafeteria itself, which on their own should work fine, but when data exchange is needed, the old system is prone to many problems. So we propose a new system where the information are centralized. Every subsystem are integrated into a whole system with a centralized database management system, ensuring streamlined operation. And since all the information are stored in one place, the data analysis can be done easily. So for our first sprint, we have some basic objective, like the initial setup and some basic features, which can be shown on the backlogs overview. Next slide. The duration for the sprint is from March 1st to March 17th, with the goal to set up the project repository, some basic infrastructure, and features. This is the backlog overview of our project. The setup of this table is having 5 columns from the idea of the story, the content of the story, the priority, the story points to distinguish which stories are more important, and the person the story is assigned to. On the left are the initial setup requirement stories, like setting up the repository, the backend server, the front end, and the database system. Since this is the backbone of our project, we expected to have all of them done by the end of the sprint. Jake is responsible for the setup, and lucky for us, he got it all up and running. The stories on the right are the basic features. We think that is easy to do, and it could also help with the setup of the backend. These stories usually go along the line of as row X, I want to do Y. And since these stories are mostly features, the priority of this story are not very high since it could be improved over the next sprint. By the end of the first sprint, we don't expect to have all of them up and running. As long as the member who are assigned this task to put in some work, we are good to go.
This is the Kanban walkthrough for our project. This is just the start of the sprint. We only have 6 features because a lot of our time was spent setting up the environment so that we could actually start coding. 2 of the features, the 2 that are assigned to me, are sort of merged into one because they're very similar. They're just updating menu items. That's why they're both assigned to me. This is midway through the project. Jake is already done with his, and everyone else is still working on theirs. And this is the end of the project. S Anthony and Jake are done with theirs, and me and Sun ran into some issues connecting to the back end that only we had, which was a pretty big setback, and that's why our features aren't completed while theirs are. But going forward, once we have all of those issues ironed out, we we'll be able to get more features done.
Be doing the feature demonstration for our project. What you can see right now is going to be the main page for our users, which is going to be our menu. And as you can see, we can go through the various just different food items. And yeah, this was mainly just to give the users one of the features was to be able to let the users view the menu. Um, Another feature that I'll be showing you is our add menu item feature located at this URL. And this should be um, an admin view or a staff view for them to be able to add a new menu item. So just for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to um, add the same thing that you saw on the previous slide. So this should just be a burger after we add this. So yeah, now you can see there's two burgers. So as you can see, we're filtering this through by category. So a burger is not gonna, end up here, even though the burger should be on the entree. But this is how that would look like. Our next feature, I'm gonna have to display it through the code because we're still kind of working on it. So basically, this feature is to enable staff to delete an item from the menu. And one of our group mates is handling that. They're using async and they're trying to communicate to the backend in order to update it. So what they have to do is they're creating a Django API endpoint, and they're just verifying that only staff can perform deletions. Our next feature is also, I'll be showing it through the code. Basically, what this group member was working on was enabling the staff to update a menu item. This was to allow price modifications, and it's going to be in a secure admin interface. And they're going through and they're also just communicating with the backend through Axios and stuff like that. And so this is all of our features that we've currently implemented or are implementing.
So for this section, I will be doing a sprint review and retrospective. I'll just be sharing what work we managed to complete, what work is still pending, and kind of just sharing what improvements we'll be making going into next sprint. We each did a feature. Well, we each worked on a feature. We managed to complete 2 out of 4 that we started. We've started 2 more since then. We completed being able to view the menu and adding items to the menu. Currently in review, we have setting the price of menu items and viewing the menu after adding items to it. In progress, we have deleting an item and editing the nutritional information. We ran into some issues, back-end issues in coding, but we feel like they're resolved, and going into next sprint, it shouldn't be an issue. Some of the improvements we plan on making going into next sprint would definitely be staying on top of the coding. We got a little bit of a late start on it this sprint, so that would be our main improvement, would just be consistently coding throughout the sprint. We did some things very well this sprint, communicated with each other, we helped each other whenever we ran into issues. We're going to continue doing that, just staying on top of it, and yeah, just making sure we update each other on progress. That's really our plan going into Sprint 2. Also, we'll be completing more features per person going into the next sprint. This section, I will be doing a brief sprint conclusion, kind of just describing the overall experience of the sprint, as well as giving a brief rundown of our plan going into Sprint 2. This sprint was a little bit hectic. Like I said in the previous slide, we got kind of a late start on coding, but once we started, we really got going really well and we worked pretty cohesively and communicated well. So I feel like we did a lot of things well. even if we did get a late start on the coding, which made it a little bit hectic. I think it was an overall good experience, even like I said, we had some issues. Going into Sprint 2, our main plan is to get a few features apiece implemented and just continue doing what we're doing, updating each other on progress, helping each other with issues when they arise, and constantly giving each other feedback just to make it go a lot smoother. So yeah, that's our plan going into Sprint 2.